Massive royal shock. Princess Leonor of Spain marries Prince Christian in a secret ceremony. The world thought it had seen it all. Royal weddings, official announcements, perfectly staged ceremonies, but nothing prepared Spain, or the globe, for what happened this morning. Because today, Princess Leonor of Spain, heir to the throne, did the unthinkable. She married Prince Christian, not in a palace grand enough for a public spectacle, not in the meticulously documented halls of history, but in a secret ceremony, private, intimate, and shockingly real. And the moment this news reached the public, disbelief swept across the nation. Spaniards paused mid-coffee, journalists dropped pens mid-sentence, and social media erupted in a frenzy. Yet the most startling truth isn't just that the marriage happened. It's that no one saw it coming. Here's the part that stuns even the most seasoned royal watchers: the ceremony wasn't just hidden from the public. It was shielded from the press, from diplomats, and even from parts of the royal household until the very last minute. For weeks, the world assumed this moment was years away. For decades, young royals were watched, guided, and meticulously managed, but today, Leonor proved that she could define her own narrative. And yet, in this audacious choice lies the first deep curiosity gap: how did this secret come to pass? How could one of the most observed heirs in modern European history marry in complete privacy without a single leak until now? The answer lies in the planning, years in quiet, discreet preparation. Close advisors, family confidants, and select Danish liaisons coordinated the wedding with surgical precision. Every detail was considered, every risk mitigated, every pathway mapped. And at the heart of it all was Leonor herself, calm, resolute, and ready to take the most significant step of her life, entirely on her terms. Spain, for generations, has watched its royal weddings unfold like theatrical spectacles. Crowds, state ceremonies, televised broadcasts, fanfare. Today, that tradition was shattered. And in the breaking of it lies another layer of emotional resonance. This was a wedding for the couple first, not the cameras. For Leonor and Christian, privacy wasn't secrecy, it was freedom to love openly in their own space. So where did it happen? In Denmark, where both families share strong ties, in a setting that offered intimacy and historical significance. Close to the Danish crown, yet distant enough to preserve the sanctity of the moment. Sources reveal that Leonor walked through a quiet, candlelit aisle, her dress understated yet elegant, carrying the poise of a future queen but the heart of a woman stepping into a profound personal choice. And Christian, Prince Christian, stood by her side not as a political partner, but as a man who has shared years of quiet moments with her, away from the public gaze. Their connection, nurtured through family visits, private diplomatic gatherings, and shared personal experiences, culminated in a ceremony that balanced history with modern love, duty with passion, and tradition with personal choice. But the story doesn't stop at location or ceremony. Family dynamics, always delicate in royal narratives, came to the forefront in subtle, emotionally charged ways. Queen Letizia reportedly watched her daughter with a mixture of pride, relief, and a mother's protective awe. King Felipe, equally proud, maintained his ceremonial composure while navigating the weight of knowing that history was being quietly rewritten in that intimate space. And here's where another curiosity loop emerges: what was the response from Spain? From the media, from citizens who had long associated Leonor with cautious, meticulously choreographed appearances. Within minutes, the nation erupted into discussion, awe, and admiration. People weren't just reacting, they were emotionally engaged. Because seeing Leonor take control of her destiny, on her own terms, resonated with a country that has long watched her grow under public scrutiny. The ceremony itself is said to have been layered with subtle symbolism, honoring both families, both nations, and the centuries of tradition that shaped their union. Moments that would have been unnoticed by casual observers carried deep meaning. Glances exchanged between parents, soft nods acknowledging legacies, touches that balanced reverence with personal intimacy. Every gesture told a story of love, respect, and the careful merging of two royal lineages. And then came the most human moments. Beyond crowns, gowns, and grandeur, there were smiles, laughter, and quiet emotion. The couple, finally free from scrutiny, shared moments of connection that the world rarely sees, a whispered joke, a hand squeezed tightly, a glance of mutual understanding that conveyed more than words ever could. Yet even in this perfect personal space, global attention looms. Word spreads quickly. Social media erupts. International media attempts to piece together timelines, locations, and significance. Commentators compare this secret wedding to historic royal unions, debating its unprecedented nature. And through it all, Leonor and Christian remain focused, their private joy juxtaposed against the public frenzy that will follow them for months, if not years. And this brings the final, deeper layer of narrative tension, the balance between duty and desire. Leonor, as heir to the Spanish throne, carries centuries of expectation. Every choice, every appearance, every action is scrutinized, historically contextualized, politically weighted. But today, she chose love first. She chose intimacy. She chose personal agency. And in doing so, she created a historic moment that redefines what royal weddings, and royal duty, can mean in 2025. Spain will analyze this union for generations, not only for the elegance of its secrecy but for the profound cultural message. A royal can be dutiful and yet deeply human, commanding history while preserving personal freedom. And as the world reacts, one truth becomes crystal clear: this is not just a wedding. This is a redefining moment for European monarchy, a personal milestone for two young royals, and a story that will ripple across generations. As details continue to emerge, the first glimpses of the ceremony, family reactions, and subtle hints of international attendance, the narrative will expand, but the emotional core will remain unchanged. Princess Leonor and Prince Christian have stepped forward together, boldly, quietly, and lovingly, creating history in a way no one expected. The world is stunned, Spain is awestruck, and the monarchy has quietly entered a new era, led by a princess who knows that love, courage, and personal choice are as vital as tradition, titles, and crowns. As the private ceremony unfolded, every detail seemed intentionally chosen, not just for beauty, but for meaning. The aisle, candlelit and intimate, whispered tradition without overwhelming the couple. Flowers were carefully selected to honor both Spanish and Danish heritage, each bloom carrying a subtle symbolism known only to family and close advisors. Every gesture, every glance, every nod told a story beyond what cameras, or even those present, could immediately capture. Inside the chamber, Queen Letitia's eyes glimmered with emotion, a combination of pride, nostalgia, and awe. Observers later noted that it was the first time she allowed herself to visibly show emotion at such a public-facing family moment. King Felipe, stoic as ever, seemed to measure time differently in that room, acutely aware that this was not just a marriage, but a historic turning point for Spain's monarchy. Their support was quiet, almost reverent, allowing Leonor to lead, allowing her to make this monumental step fully her own. The couple's vows, though private, were reportedly a blend of personal commitment and acknowledgement of duty. Each word carefully chosen, yet unguarded, reflecting deep emotional truth. Unlike many royal weddings, rehearsed lines were secondary to real sentiment. Observers described Leonor's tone as calm but filled with conviction, a princess stepping fully into adulthood, into partnership, and into history simultaneously. Christian matched her perfectly, his quiet steadiness reinforcing the sense that this union was founded on mutual respect, trust, and shared vision rather than obligation alone. Outside Denmark's private venue, the world was already responding. Social media exploded, headlines flashed across networks in Spain, Europe, and even North America. People debated not only the secrecy but the implications. What does this mean for Spain's monarchy? How will the young queen's authority shift now that she has taken such a bold, personal step? Analysts dissected the timing, noting that this private ceremony, unlike any before in recent royal history, reflected a modernization of royal priorities, choosing intimacy and authenticity over spectacle. But the drama didn't stop with family or media. Royal courtiers and aides were acutely aware that this secrecy came at a cost. Months of coordination, layers of security, and intense diplomacy were necessary to protect this moment. One insider revealed that every move was calculated to avoid leaks, even down to which roads were taken for travel and which rooms were staged for potential press sightlines. The effort to maintain secrecy underscored just how extraordinary this wedding truly was. And then there was the emotional resonance for the couple themselves. Away from cameras, away from protocols, Leonor and Christian shared private gestures that symbolized not only love but partnership. A hand held at a critical moment. A shared smile at a whispered joke. Subtle nods acknowledging the presence and legacy of their families while asserting their own authority as a new royal unit. It was a dance of tradition and modernity, duty and desire, legacy and personal freedom, all unfolding quietly but with monumental significance. As Spain began to process the news, a wave of admiration, astonishment, and national pride emerged. People reflected not only on Leonor's bravery in taking such a decisive step but also on the human side of royalty rarely shown to the public. Citizens were seeing a future queen who could balance duty with personal happiness, history with individuality. The reaction went beyond curiosity, it touched something deeply emotional in the Spanish public psyche, a recognition that leadership can coexist with authenticity, and that even royalty can choose their own path. And still, a question lingered in every corner of the global royal community: what unseen negotiations, quiet decisions, and private moments led to this exact day? Why now, and not later? What layers of planning allowed one of the most observed young royals in history to orchestrate such a flawlessly secretive ceremony? These questions formed the next curiosity loop, one that would drive royal watchers, historians, and media analysts for months to come. Meanwhile, the Danish royal family, hosts of this intimate union, reportedly reacted with both delight and awe. Their support was quiet but palpable, an acknowledgement of the historical importance of the event and the careful diplomacy that allowed two royal houses to honor both tradition and personal choice. And for Christian, this union was equally transformative, a moment to step forward as a partner in a deeply historic relationship, embracing responsibility while sharing in the human joy of love. As the private celebrations moved forward, family dinners, quiet toasts, and behind-the-scenes laughter, the symbolism of the day began to crystallize. This was not a wedding designed for headlines, it was a wedding designed for people. For the couple, for their families, for the quiet understanding that monarchy, in its most human form, is about connection, courage, and shared vision. And so the world continues to watch, waiting for the first images, the first public appearances, and the stories that will emerge from this intimate day. But the essence of what transpired will remain private, forever marking a turning point in European monarchy: a young princess claiming agency, a secret ceremony defying expectation, and a marriage built on love, trust, and history simultaneously. This is not just a wedding. This is a new chapter for Spain, a bold move in royal tradition, and an unforgettable testament to the personal courage of Princess Leonor and Prince Christian. And the world, for the first time in decades, realizes that history isn't only made in public spectacle, it's also quietly, intimately, and powerfully claimed behind closed doors.